Okay, the second part of 3.1, we're going to be solving these equations. But if you look, solving these equations isn't just as easy as subtracting and dividing out. We actually have to factor. We have to factor out these polynomials. And it's okay. We're going to have a trick. Each answer is going to look something like this, with two parentheses being multiplied by each other. Okay, and our first one, what we're going to have here, is going to be x. Why? Well, you guys were taught how to multiply fractions together, right? We were taught to FOIL. The first times the second. Well, what's x times x? It's x squared. Right? X times x is x squared. That's where those front two x's come from. Okay. Our last two numbers in our parentheses are going to be what multiply to 2, this last number. And if you think about it, what two numbers are multiplied by 2? Well, if we came up with a factor tree, okay, what are the factors of 2? It's 2 times 1. Right? That's really the only factor. So we know that 2 and 1 are going to be put in the parentheses. Okay, but how does this 3x enter in? Well, that 3x, let's FOIL this one out. If we multiply the x's together, we'd get x squared. Okay, if we took 2 times x, we'd get 2x. If we multiplied the first and the last, we'd get x. We get we get plus x, right? And then we obviously know if we multiply the 2 times 1, we'd get 2. So what is 2x plus x? Well, that's where we get 3x. Okay, so our final answer, we're going to get 2 parentheses. Right, we're going to have x and 2, x and 1. Okay, now it's a positive 2, so we need this to be a positive 2. It could either be a negative times a negative, right? Negative 2 times negative 1 would be positive 2, or a positive and a positive. Okay, and that middle symbol, whether it be a plus or a negative, comes from that 3x. We need it to be a positive 3x. We need this to be a positive 2 and a positive 1 because positive 2 plus positive 1 equals positive 3. Okay, now this is equal to 0. How do we solve this? Well, we break it up into 2 parts. We'll start with this red part. X plus 1 equals 0. What does x equal? Well, if we subtract 1 from both sides, we get x is equal to negative 1. Okay, now let's break it up into this blue part. X plus 2 is equal to 0. And how do I solve that? Well, if we subtract 2 from both sides, we get x is equal to negative 2. Okay, so there's my answers. It's x is equal to negative 1, and x is equal to negative 2. Let's try this one. Got plenty of room. We have x squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay, so my numbers here are going to be x and x. We don't know our middle symbols yet. And we have to find the factors of 12. We have to find the factors of 12. Okay, what are the factors of 12? It's 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and that's it, right? Now, out of these factors over here that I'm circling, out of these factors, which ones add up to 7? 1 times 12, 1 and 12, that adds up to 13. 2 and 6, that adds up to 8. 3 and 4, there we go, that adds up to 7, right? Well, that will give me my 7x. So I need a 3 and a 4. Okay, and I know that 3 times 4 has to equal a positive 12, and it has to be, when they add it together, it has to be a positive 7. So, the middle is just going to be a plus. Oh, that's not my final answer. I almost circled it. Okay, remember, that's going to be equal to 0. Break this up. We have x plus 4 equals 0. If we subtract 4, we get x is equal to negative 4. X plus 3 is equal to 0. We subtract 3, we get x is equal to negative 3. Let's try this one. Okay, I have to factor this out. I know that this is going to be x, this is going to be x. Find the factors of 16. Okay, we know that's 1 and 16, 2 and 8. 3 doesn't go into it, but 4 does. Now, out of these, add them together. We got 17, we got 10, and we have 8. Okay. Oh, good. We're going to get to 8. Perfect. Okay. 4 and 4. At the end, there's going to be a 0. Okay. Now, I need a positive 16, but a negative 8x. Here's the thing. When this symbol here is a plus, only when it's a plus, we're going to have the same symbol in the middle. Okay, it's either going to be plus or minus. Okay, because this is a minus, this is going to be a minus. And we get negative 4x minus 4x, that would be negative 8x. And if we solve this, we'd have x minus 4 is equal to 0. That'd be for both of them, right? So x is going to equal 4. How about this one? Okay, we're going to have x and x. There's a plus, right? So we're going to have the same number, or same symbol, and there's a minus, so it's going to be minus and minus. Factors of 20 are 1 times 20, 2 times 10. 3 doesn't go into it, 4 times 5. Now, which of these factors add up to 9? 4 and 5, right? So we're going to have 4 and 5, that's going to be equal to 0, and then solve. X minus 4 equals 0, x is equal to 4. X minus 5 is equal to 0, x is equal to 5. Okay, this next one. We're going to have x and x. Notice right here. Notice here. That's a minus sign. Okay, so our symbols are going to be different. One's going to be plus, one's going to be minus, and it does matter. It does matter. Let's first start by finding the factors of 5. 1 and 5. Now, if we add these together, what do we get? We get 6. But what's in the middle here? It's 4. Okay, well, we can take 1 minus 5, or 5 minus 1, right? 5 minus 1, that's 4, right? Okay, good. We have to get to a positive 4x, right? So I need to know, is my 5 going to be positive, or is my 1 going to be negative? Let's just write these 5 and 1. Okay? If I have a positive 5 and I subtract the 1, I will get a 4. So my 5 has to be positive, my 1 has to be negative. This will be equal to 0. Okay? If I solve this, I have x minus 1 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 1. x plus 5 is equal to 0, so x is equal to negative 5. Last example. Last example. It's a bad example. Why? Let's see. I'll be right back and I'll type it in or put in a new equation. Okay, here's my new equation. Negative 3x squared minus 6x minus 3. I can take a number out of here. I can actually take a negative 3 on this left side. So I'll have negative 3 times x squared plus 2x plus 1. That's going to be equal to 0. Okay, I'm going to factor out this inside the parentheses. Well, this one's actually not too bad.
Excuse the interruption.
Sorry about that interruption. So inside the parentheses, we're going to have x and x. The factors of 1 is just 1 and 1, and it's positive, so it's going to be plus, plus. Okay, that's going to be equal to 0 along with this negative 3. Okay, now we're going to break this down into 3 different parts. Okay, so if I simplify this, or if I solve this, I can still say x plus 1 is equal to 0, so x is equal to negative 1. X plus 1 is equal to 0, so that'll be the same answer, right? So I don't even have to do that. I'll get x equals negative 1. But then this negative 3 out here, negative 3 is equal to 0. Is that true? No. So x is going to be equal to 0 as well. I'm sorry. X doesn't equal 0. Negative 3 doesn't equal 0. So we just ignore this. And we just focus on x right here. X equals negative 1.